Good morning. We're going to be talking about retraction cord placement on posterior teeth following crown preparation. The reason that you place cord is to expand the sulcus so that the impression material can enter the sulcus. So in the posterior region, we're gently placing a medium retraction cord in the sulcus. Now you'll notice we're not pressing the cord through the connective tissue. We're just laying it in the sulcus to expand the sulcus so that the impression material can easily enter the sulcus and capture the margin. I'm using a cord placing instrument. Now notice in the interproximal area, this is very important that you don't press the cord into the connective tissue. The other thing is you don't want to blanch the tissue for a prolonged period of time in the interproximal area, or you could cause ischemia and you might lose the papilla. As you place the cord, angle the cord placement instrument into the tooth. That will slide the cord into the sulcus. You can see how I'm angling it into the tooth. And this instrument is perfect for cord placement. Now, if you want to, you can place a very small cord in the sulcus on the facial aspect of the tooth prior to tooth preparation. What this does is marks the bottom of the sulcus so you don't prep past the bottom of the sulcus. Normally when I'm prepping crown preps or veneer preps, I like to extend about 1 millimeter into the sulcus. If the sulcus is very shallow, then sometimes it's helpful to place a very small cord in the bottom of the sulcus prior to tooth preparation, but only place it on the facial side. If you place it interproximally, especially if you have adjacent teeth, you might strangulate the papilla and lose the papilla if it's placed for a long period of time. So the only time I place retraction cord interproximally is the medium cord, and I lay it very gently into that interproximal sulcus so I don't strangulate and lose the papilla. So you can see all I'm trying to do is open the sulcus. And once we remove this cord, in about 5 minutes, the gingival sulcus will stay open. It won't close if you go ahead and place the impression material immediately upon removal of the cord. This is a blockout material. It's very important if you're using polyether, because the polyether is so strong and so rigid, it'll lock in the interproximal area and you'll have a hard time removing it. So prior to taking the impression, I'm wetting the teeth. Remember, polyether is hydrophilic. It likes water. So I've wet the teeth, removed the cord, and when you remove the cord, be sure the cord is wet. Otherwise, it may tear or bind to the tissue and cause bleeding. So be sure it's wet, and you can see how crisp and clean those margins are.
Thank you all so much for joining us this week on the Dental Minute. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next week where we talk about composite restoration of gum line decay. You don't want to miss it.